Hold on a second. No audio. Oh, wait, you can hear. Yes, there's audio. Okay, good. Not sure what happened there. Okay, everybody says they can hear me now. I'm not sure why because I'm looking here on my live broadcast here on my control panel and everything seems to be working okay. So anyway, so I'm gonna keep talking. There's a couple things that I want to talk about. Yes, there are people who are. Hey, Sophia.
Hey, lady, how are you?
Doing good, good. I was just getting ready to tell some folks about the article in the New York Daily News.
Hey, y'all see my t-shirt? Y'all see this? This what
Yes.
I'm talking about.
Black Girls Rock. Woo-hoo. That's right.
We need a t-shirt that says, I am a strong Black woman and I cannot be intimidated. That's what we all need to get. That's what we need to get. The words of Maxine Waters.
Yes. Speaking of Maxine Waters, so tell us a little bit about this article that you wrote in the New York Daily News today.
Well, I'm a contributor for them, and I write from time to time. And of course, I want us to get into this properly, so I don't want to get into this out of order. So if you want to lead us into the discussion, I'll go ahead and answer your question by kind of going where I want to go.
Okay, so what we're talking about today, we're going to keep on topic because there's a method to this, and we're going to talk about that at the very end about an announcement that Sophia and I have. We're talking today about what accounts for free speech. Now, we hear a lot of times with the He-Man Black Women Haters crew that you are infringing on my free speech. I have every right to do all of these XYZ things to me that the Constitution allows for me to do this. And you are infringing on that. And there's been a lot of confusion about what that actually entails. And again, Sophia and I do not endorse going after channels by using fraudulent information. We want people to go after channels for reasons specified that we're going to clarify, because it's very, very important that we do things the right way. Again, as Sophia says, as Michelle Obama says, when they go low, we go high. So we want to make sure that we're being very focused on this, because I can tell you right now that they're using the same tactics, many of the tactics that we're doing, but they're using it in a dirty way. So they are falsely, flagging channels. They are falsely reporting. They're using YouTube's very own protections in order to punish the people who have come after them for legitimate reasons. So for that, we need to be very, very cognizant of what specifically we are working with and what the law says at the moment. So that's why I wanted Sophia on. This is what we're going to talk about today. So Sophia, you have the floor.
So good evening, everybody on the West Coast. Here in the East, it's a little bit late, and in the Central time zones, thank you for joining us, and I know more people will be popping on. Thanks to your wonderful guy who does your promos. He is hilarious. I love them. They're serious, but they have levity. I want to talk about a couple things that are important. Christelyn and I have been kind of keeping on top of this since everything happened, but if I could quickly, I'd like to kind of give you a timeline and a reason why we find ourselves here on these Google Hangouts as of late. Christelyn's been doing this for a long time. She's been a big champion of Black women. She's been talking about the things that really affect our lives since No Wedding, No Womb, which ever since she launched that, she's been under attack. And I mean severe attack. And I'll be honest, like many of you, I'm caught up into my own life, my own living. And, we all pay attention kind of on the periphery and we go, oh yeah, that's a great thing my sister's doing. And we might be engaged for a moment or two, and then we get busy with our own lives and we walk away. And I'll be honest, like many of you, I had absolutely zero clue that there were men like Mr. Sotomayor, Mr. Obsidian, and some of the others out there. I just didn't know they existed. And I'm glad in one sense I didn't know, because it shows that I have a life and I'm busy and I'm doing other things. But It was by accident that I found out someone that was going to hire me for a corporate engagement. Their people were doing due diligence. And when they Google searched me, they came up with these links and they sent them to me. They said, Sophia, have you seen this? This is kind of creepy.
Wow.
We think you ought to be concerned. And what's interesting about it, Christelyn, is the person who sent it to me is actually a general counsel in a Fortune 25 company. And this guy said to me, hey, you know, we love you and I'm concerned about this. I think you better look at this. And, you know, you're out there with your new book, you're on air, you know, anybody can roll up on you, you're recognizable, you better take this seriously. So I, of course, reported it to my security. Then I talked to my lawyer, Bob LeBate in Chicago, of my former firm, Holland and Knight. Thank God for Bob. And we immediately sprung into action. Of course, the first thing I did, and ladies, tonight's purpose is to talk to you about the First Amendment, what it means, what it doesn't mean. Tonight's purpose is to teach you how to defend and protect yourself. And the third thing is, I think we can all agree, Black women in America are under assault. This past week, we saw a United States Congresswoman, Maxine Waters, and a veteran White House correspondent, April Ryan, a good friend of mine, be assaulted verbally and attacked for their looks. One by a national pundit, TV show host Bill O'Reilly against Maxine Waters. When asked about the substance of the remarks she was making, he quipped, I didn't hear a word she said because I was busy looking at that James Brown wig of hers.
Right.
Wow.
Yeah.
And
wow.
then for April Ryan, who's a member of the White House press corps, a veteran member, the only Black woman she's like kind of the Black Helen Thomas. And April was trying to get to the bottom of this Russiagate stuff, asked a question, and Sean Spicer, like the angry white man that he is, start pointing at her, talk about, don't shake your head at me.
Right.
Excuse me?
Right. He was treating her like the house slave. Like, how dare
exactly.
you? Don't you disrespect me, know your place.
Exactly. And notice he didn't say that to anybody else that was shaking their head.
Right.
Or acting that way. And what I thought was great about what happened with April was that immediately our colleagues, white men, once again, white men came to her defense, which I thought was interesting, and white women, and they started, you know, tweeting and sharing and posting, and next thing you know, it turned into a viral thing.
Wait a minute. Sophia, you're saying no Black men came to Maxine Waters' defense?
What I'm saying is, I'm talking about April in terms of
Congresswoman
Maxine Waters. I think a lot of members of the Black Caucus did. I think, you know, like people like Mark Morial, the Urban League, those gentlemen did. But I'm talking about April being basically told by the White House press secretary, don't you shake your head at me, little Black girl. And what I'm saying is, what I thought was great is that even white people realized he was out of order, and white people started tweeting and white people started posting. I don't know if there are any brothers in the press corps, to be honest. I don't know the answer to that question. When I was at the White House for the first 2 years of the Obama administration, we had at least one or two other Black men. I don't know if there are any now, to be candid, but I'm not saying that someone Black and male did not come to her fence, and I want to be clear about that. What I am saying is what I saw was white people, which I thought was good because it showed me a consciousness of white people even going, wait a minute, that's shady.
Right.
That's not how you talk to a grown woman.
Right.
That's not okay. You see what I'm saying?
Yes.
So the reason I'm talking about this tonight is because, sisters, I want to talk to you. It's very important. Thank you for those who signed a petition. We're over 1,000. We're going to keep going. Thank you for those that have been supporting and watching these videos. Notice that the way that Christelyn and I do this, we don't cuss at anybody. We don't demean anybody. We don't abuse anybody. We only reference someone's name if we're stating a point of fact of something that you can publicly see for yourself that they've done. We have not in any way, shape, or form told anybody to go and attack these people or do anything. Absolutely, you should flag racist, sexist, abusive, bullying, harassing comments. Absolutely. On my Instagram the other day, and this is in the promo that Christelyn did for this hangout tonight, I was on my Instagram, and if you go to my Instagram feed at I am Sophia Nelson, you will see I post nothing. It's like the Girl Scout, you know, posting center of America. I wake up happy, I go to bed happy. I'm always posting something, you know, kind of good, connecting, loving people. And I had this post about being kind. And Christelyn, is there a way to show them what I got on my post, that man's post? Or is there not a way to do it? Nasty.
Yeah, I can do a share screen. Hold on, let me
I want you guys to see what this guy left on my Instagram.
Yeah, hold on. Keep
on
talking.
Said, be nice and love people.
Yeah, keep talking. I'm gonna get to it, and then
what we want to do, sisters, is continue to educate you, empower you, and enlist you to love yourself, to follow Congresswoman Maxine Waters' words. I am a strong Black woman, and I will not be intimidated. When you read my article in the New York Daily News, which is doing very well right now, it just came out a few hours ago, further to say that anytime a Black woman, and this was critical, anytime a Black woman raises her voice or tries to speak up for herself, she will be attacked. This is what was left on my Instagram. If you look at it, it was this wonderful post, and this animal, who we know who he is, by the way, Instagram got back with us. They got his ISP or his internet, what's his IP address. And so again, these men, for those of you out there, the brothers on that are doing this stuff, and you're commenting like the Pete Brook guy, and you're threatening that in 20 days you're gonna do something, and you're on there talking about you're a public figure, bitch, so you ought to get over it. I got a message for you, and you need to listen up. First of all, you want to be attorneys that think you understand the federal code of 18 USC. You better read it again, and you better read all the subsections. The federal code sets forth activities that are under the jurisdiction of the federal government, the FBI, the Department of Homeland Security, DNI, etc. And they list out what are crimes. And the section I gave you, there's one in 200s, there's one in the 400s, there's one in the 7s and the 800s. But 725 and 825 specifically deal with cyber harassing, stalking, transmitting. So if I transmit something, if I tweet, if I text, if I YouTube, whatever I do, and if I harass this woman here, if I bully her, and harassing and bullying, folks, you know it when you see it. If it walks like a duck, it quacks like a duck, it's a duck. No, if someone gets on and says about Christelyn, if a person gets on and does a video and says, hey, I don't like this Beyond Black and White site. I think it's wrong for a Black woman to encourage Black women to date white men, and here are my 10 reasons why. People can do that all day long. That's their opinion. They're not menacing her. They're making commentary on something very public that she's doing or that I'm doing. But it is a whole nother thing to take images, to post home addresses, to curse, to bully, to menace, to threaten, to stalk. That's illegal. And I'm going to continue to say and tell you, for those of you again who have no idea what the Constitution of the United States says, the First Amendment does protect free speech, but free speech has limitations. The lemon test, you wouldn't know what that is, but that was a case decided by the Supreme Court, and there's a 4-part test. And the reality is that I can't run into a crowded movie theater and yell fire. I can't go into a gay bar and take 20 people with me who hate gays and say, let's beat the hell out of everybody in here and start beating on people after inciting others to violence. I specifically cannot speak against a protected class. What's a protected class? Glad you asked. Women, Black women. Black men are a protected class. Native Americans. I can continue to go down, but I think you get the point. And so those rise to a higher level. That's why we have EEOC laws at work. That's why we have hate crime laws in this country. Folks, I know that the internet is like the Wild West to people, and I know that they got their guns in their holsters, and they think they're, they got their spurs on and their boots on, and they got their cut and they're chewing, and they think they can just say anything and do anything. But the truth is, that's not true. Each one of us is entitled to safety on our person. And when Christelyn's family's endangered, when I am harassed, my image is taken, people talk about punch the bitch in her mouth, and really?
Right.
And you would actually think that that's normal?
Right.
We have a very serious problem, Christelyn, when men think it's normal to call women bitch, first of all.
Right.
We have a very serious problem when men think that you ought to take it when they cuss at you, menace you, and demean you. Guys, that's abuse. That is abuse. It's assault. I guarantee you these men, of some who we are reading their comments, I promise you these men beat women. These men do not like women. These men are abusive to women. These men have very unhealthy relationships with women. Christelyn, I don't know if you've read some of the comments, but I've taken time because the lawyer in me wants to look at these things. And I've looked at a theme which I think is very interesting. And the overarching theme from these guys that do this is they want to put us in our place.
Yeah.
And this is exactly what Congresswoman Maxine Waters was talking about. Here she is, a United States Congresswoman. And Eric Bolling on Fox News says she needs to get off the crack pipe. He's still got a job.
Right.
I wonder had he said that about Ivanka Trump or Kellyanne Conway or one of the Supreme Court justices or a white congresswoman. I wonder would he still have a job? What do you think? I don't think so.
Yeah. I have a question for you. Now, people are saying, well, you're a public figure, and because you're a public figure, I can say whatever I want about you. What do you say about that to when people
what
say
I say about that is, again, these are idiots that don't know the law. Public figures every day win suits. Melania Trump, the first lady of the United States, do you remember during the election she sued somebody for the blogging? She won, what, $140 million, something. I forget what she won. It was crazy. She sued him and she won. Just because I'm a public figure does not give you the right to threaten me, menace me. In fact, the standard becomes higher because I am a public figure. And by that I mean, yes, if you tell the truth. So in other words, if somebody uncovers some naked pictures of me, right? And it happened to Melania Trump, right? We saw the whole thing. You can't do anything about that. You know why? Because truth is a defense. So
it's the truth.
Pictures are real. It's true. Now, if somebody made up some stuff and stuck her head on some bodies and did things like that, that would be defamation. That would be libel, and people can be sued. You follow what I'm saying? So, no. Public figures, celebrities have sued. People like Beyonce, Bishop Jakes has sued and won. Celebrities and public figures win suits every day. I shared a link with you the other day, Christelyn. You remember about Bishop Blake's, right?
Yes.
And we should talk about that because Bishop Blake's in LA, who's the chief bishop of the Kojic Church.
Right. He used to be my old pastor. Yeah.
Right. He had a YouTube stalker that was another pastor in Florida. And this pastor was making videos, apparently a lot of videos, about accusing the bishop of being a child molester. He had proof and he made all these videos, and Bishop told him to take them down. He didn't do it. And this was under the old policy where YouTube wasn't taking videos down and YouTube wouldn't take them down. So what did Bishop Blake's do? Do you want to tell him or should I?
He sued him, put him in jail. Go ahead. He sued and put him in jail. That man is in jail.
Thank you. And you want to know the statute, you smart asses who get on and think you know so much? 18 USC, section 725 and 825. I told Mr. whatever his name was that if he kept screwing around, he was going to face up to 5 years in jail and a $25,000 fine. Don't take my word for it. Google Bishop Blake's. Google it. It's all there. He not only won this suit, and now Google and YouTube are going to have to pay him a lot of money, but the fool that did it is in jail. You guys think this is funny because you're stupid, and you are.
And they have a really a total misunderstanding of what it is that they have the right to do. I want to rewind a bit.
They don't have a misunderstanding. They want to do it. They're willful, they're disrespectful, they're unstable, they're sociopathic, they're narcissists. Christelyn, they know that it is out of order. If somebody called Mumia, whatever his name, and the other one's mama a B or their sister a B, they'd be ready to knock somebody out.
Right.
You agree, right?
Unless they hated him. I mean, so but here's I want to go back quickly, just rewind a little bit.
I'm good. I got time.
Okay, I want to talk about how the way you found out about what was going on with you with Obsidian was because you were up for a sponsorship. You were trying to basically get a job, and people found this and said, "Did you know that these people are saying this about you?" And I want to use this as an example. The person who put these videos out about you said, "This goes to show the strength of our channel that a year after I did these, these podcasts, that she's coming to me now." When in fact, he was so insignificant, you had no idea that he was even present until this came up into something that had to do with your business. And for the women who think that, it's not really a big deal.
It's a very big deal.
Watch when the dragging of Black women keeps you from getting a job. I'm a stay-at-home mom. I've got a husband who takes care of the mortgage. But imagine if I needed to get a job and an employer saw all of these videos. And Sophia, I wanted you to talk to a little bit about what your people saw, that people were saying, like truly damaging, totally defamatory. Like, people really need to take this stuff seriously. The things that I have suffered from doing this, not to try to be a victim, but to make this seem like it's not a big deal, that it's just guys speaking their mind. That is a fallacy.
Yeah, it's a very big deal, and that's why YouTube. Listen at me, guys. We're being under purpose here because we're trying to educate you, and we're also trying to educate the brothers out there who think this is funny, who think it's smart. Do you realize when you make a comment with your picture and your name, and you spew hatred, and you're calling women bitches, that people see that too?
Right.
I mean, it's just like we screenshot it and put it up. You don't think people at your job, I mean, this one guy that we found, the one who was making the threats, we know where he works, we know who he is, and you know what we're gonna do? Again, I got a good team. We're gonna start sending stuff to people's employers. We'll deal with you like that. Let your employers see you calling women bitches and threatening them, and see how well that works out for you.
So what about people who don't show their faces, who think that they are anonymous?
Well, they're not, because let me back up and say what we've done. So I mentioned that I have been working with my legal team, and it so happens that my attorney went to law school with the chief counsel of Google and YouTube. It's a small world, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I told you one of the senior counsels is someone I used to have as a colleague when I was in law practice. And so when you have a relationship and you bring this kind of thing to somebody, particularly when their company is already in the news and Fortune, the New York Times, and all of those companies are the Advils, the Cadillacs, the Sprints, they're leaving Google and YouTube because they don't want their ads associated with this kind of filth, right?
Right.
And so our God is good, because the environment for us now is right, because now they're looking at stuff like this, like, oh, this is real. This isn't funny anymore. And to your point, I want everybody out there to know, women, men alike, listen, nothing is private anymore. Nothing. And so know that prospective employers, people booking you for speaking engagements, that was me. Now, I was lucky that they knew me.
Right.
But what if it was a company, Christelyn, overseas? Or what if it was somebody else that started Googling me and thought, well, wait a minute, what is this? The Spinster Chronicles?
Right.
Just
Exactly.
attacking me like an animal. And they're like, maybe they would have thought I put that up.
Right.
But I had something to do with that. My point is that your social media footprint matters. When you are a public person, I take a lot of abuse. I told you, I have people say all kind of crazy stuff. Some of it, I sit with a glass of wine and I laugh at, and I think it's funny, because I can't believe people are that stupid. But when you get to a point where you're doing videos on me, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, you're taking my pictures, You're calling me names. You're just sitting there picking my life apart. You don't even know me. You know
Right.
nothing about my life at all.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't do anything unkind to anybody. I don't bother anybody. You feel entitled to do that. You're sick, and I'm going to hold you accountable.
Right.
Period.
And so let's talk briefly, because we there is an anonymous person on YouTube, and he goes by the name of Pete Brook, and
he's not anonymous. We know who he is.
yeah, and so he's basically saying, you know, all the details of my life. What are the does the person who hosts that comment, who allows that comment to stay, is there any culpability for
well,
them?
First of all, there some people like me, for example, I'll be honest, I don't go to YouTube very often, which is obvious, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I wouldn't really know if somebody was saying something nasty or mean or not. But what you do is you flag that person's comment, and then YouTube has the culpability and the liability. It always falls back on the end user, and that is YouTube and Google. And so Pete Brook, though, to me, and I've had a conversation about him with my security and the authorities over at YouTube, Google, and he's being watched. He's made these kind of comments on other forums, apparently, that I'm unaware of, and he menaces. And somebody, look, let me tell you guys something. I don't care if you use an alias or whatever you do. Your IP address will give you away. We live in the 21st century. I was a cybersecurity attorney. I can be found, and you do know the Congress just passed a bill today that gave people the right to sell your browsing history. Don't ask me why the hell they did something like that. But what I'm trying to explain to you is there is no privacy anymore. So if you watch porn and you think you're doing it in the dark, you ain't. They know.
Right.
And it could be sold, and then next thing you know, your kids are on the family computer, and 50 clicks come up from disgusting porn sites, and somebody sucks your kid into something because now your browsing history is not even
right.
Private.
Right.
And what I'm trying to share with you is to the brothers who are doing this, if we know what's his name don't have a job, he's a loser and he's on his disability and he feels sorry for himself and he thinks that life is somehow he's entitled to something because life has been hard on him. It's been hard on all of us. And the what I'm trying to explain to people is if you have a job, if you have a reputation, if you have a family, if you have something you value, don't get on social media and start cussing at people and threatening people because they're going to find out who you are.
Right.
They're cracking down because if you're Instagram, if you're Twitter, if you're Facebook, if you're Google, they police this stuff now because it's advertising dollars. There's some great articles, and there are actually a couple brothers, Christelyn, videos over the last couple days about what this is really about. It's about money. That before.
Right. It really is.
So, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. I mean, it really is. They're at a crossroads now because they have been able to, YouTube has been able to get away with, just letting everything fly until it starts affecting their dollars. And once it starts, this has been legitimate. These have been legitimate issues. People have been killed and harmed over YouTube, and they've done nothing. And it didn't matter to them until their money started being affected. And it's sad that has to be the case, but it is what it is. I want to just say again, Pete Brook, if you're listening to this right now, Sophia just says she knows who you are. Congratulations. I would start, putting yourself in order on that.
More important than I know who he is, the authorities know who he is, and they're watching him because he's done this to other people and his comments have been flagged. And like I said, whatever's going on over at YouTube and Google with their advertising dollars, listen, when you're $1 billion company and your advertising is how you make your money, right? It's how Facebook makes it. It's how every one of these online companies exist on advertising because it's not like it's all virtual, right?
Right.
And so if you start losing major accounts, multi-million-dollar accounts, your your stock options go down, your valuation goes down. And what I'm trying to help us as Black people understand, I mean, I guess, Christelyn, if I can say this, and then I want to really talk about the assault on Black women in America. If I could say something to the Black men, and I mean this sincerely from the bottom of my heart, you know, you have to ask yourself a hard question. Why would you go on to any social media platform and spend your time attacking, cussing, dogging, menacing women in general, but particularly women who look like you, who again are your mother, your sister, your aunt, your daughter, you know, your granny? I mean, think about that for a moment and what it makes you look like. You think you're hurting me. You're not hurting me. At the end of the day, you're an annoyance. This is something else I've had to add to my plate. But at the end of the day, you can't touch me. Nothing you can say or do can touch my sterling reputation, the life I've lived, and the good woman that I am. You can demean, you can do, but people are looking at you like you're an asshole, not me.
Right.
The people who saw your videos at a Fortune 25 company who brought them to my attention, and by the way, it was a Black male who was the general counsel who brought it to my attention. And he's a fraternity brother, and he said, you know, this is some, you know, he had words. He was pretty pissed off because he's like, is this what brothers do now? Is this where we are?
Yes, this is exactly, they do this. Yes, they do.
He was shocked and appalled. And so he started reading some of the comments. And what he saw was what we saw, which is, my God, these people are not playing with a full deck of cards. No. So again, if you guys think this is fun, Tommy Sotomayor, here's the real thing. I don't know you, sir. I don't say anything derogatory about you, but I have looked at your channel and I've looked at some of what you do. And you have to ask yourself a question. What are you going to do when YouTube shuts down? Because they're going to start cracking down. Don't believe me and Christelyn, read Fortune, read Time, read the New York Times. Read it and weep. They're shutting people like you down because the advertisers want you gone.
Right.
They want you gone.
And they don't want to be associated with you.
No, they don't. They don't because, well, they also don't want the liability. What happens if somebody gets killed? What happens if somebody gets hurt?
Right. Yeah, somebody who's not a Black girl, because a Black girl has been killed already, and there was really no there was no recompense for her, which was.
Can you tell that story quickly? What happened?
Well, there was a person who's been on this YouTube thing for almost a decade. He goes by Sergeant Willie Pete. He also goes by Infinite Wisdom. He has done probably hundreds of videos using my name, slandering my name, making up stories about me. But he was the first to start this whole Black woman hatred campaign on YouTube. And there was a young girl, Asia McGowan, who was killed because a follower of Sergeant Willie Pete, who had been in communication with this person. So Sergeant Willie Pete knew this person was crazy. He admits to having this relationship with him when he was emailing back and forth. The person went to the school, shot her, and then shot himself because of all of the hatred, because he found this community of, you know, men who were like, Black women are, you know, worthless pieces of crap. To dehumanize, and this is what happened as a result. I believe he got his channel taken away for a little bit, but he was able to weasel himself in. I think we need to talk about that too. The fact that a lot of these guys will get their channels taken away and then pop up someplace else.
Well, again, I don't want to say too much because we know that they pay attention, and I don't want to tell them, but I can tell you that the authorities are aware. I told you from day one, Christelyn, that I would do this by the book, that I would go by the rules, that I don't want a Band-Aid. I don't want to just take care of me and not everybody else. I've been a Black woman every day of my life, just like you. And I have been a champion of Black men. I've helped Black men. I've tried to be a connector, a healer, a bridge. I love Black men. I got a Black father. I got a Black brother. I got Black uncles. as I'm sure you do as well. And so this bothers me because this is not the black men I know. I know black men who don't act like this and who don't like this and who don't think like this. And they're disgusted by it.
Right.
But what I also know is that we live in an era and a time where people are very lonely and people are very isolated. And if we were to really dissect what's going on with these men, the hate, to go on somebody's Instagram that you don't know, and their post is about kindness and loving, for you to post, "You black bitch monkeys." Who does that? Like, who talks like that? And you got to ask yourself some hard questions. Like, and then if you think that that's normal behavior, that's a whole nother conversation. So for me, I want to help as much as I can to make sure people like this don't have at least a YouTube platform, because YouTube is a little bit different than Twitter, Facebook, and the others. I think Facebook does a pretty good job of policing some of the others, but YouTube has been sloppy, and they're paying a heavy price.
Yes, they have, and they deserve everything they get. Make no mistake, I don't feel sorry for them. I've been looking at their announcement, because they did announce, and they basically admitted, yeah, we did this, we weren't careful, we're sorry. But I think there needs to be more than that. Right now we have almost 300 people listening. We got 295 people listening right now. I want you to take this link that I put in the chat room, and if you haven't signed the petition, sign it now, because this isn't just a fluffy do nothing petition. Sophia, tell people what you want to do with this petition.
Without getting into what our private strategy and legal strategy is, I was asked by lawyers to make this real, so that when they address it, they've got a real, they're backed up. They know that black women are really unhappy about this. They know that a protected class has been assaulted and violated. And I can tell you right now, and again, brothers, listen to me. I'm telling you, if you got a job, if you're on disability, getting some type of public assistance, if you get messed up in this kind of stuff, you're going to end up like that guy that did this to Bishop Blakes. He was a pastor. Again, don't take my word for it. Don't take Christelyn's word for it. Google Bishop Blakes and YouTube, and you're going to see how Bishop Blakes got enough, and he sued for defamation. Very public figure, by the way, again, for you jackasses who think that you can just talk about people anyway and there's no consequence. This man's in jail. Christelyn, he's in jail.
Yes, and it's good. Good.
What I'm trying to tell you is, right now, I can tell you what Google's doing, what YouTube's doing, what Facebook is doing, what Instagram is doing is they are compiling what they call, they have like robots, you know, like those spam bots. So basically they do algorithms and they look for curse words. So they might do a program for some of you who are IT programmers, you'll know what I'm talking about. So let's say I have my algorithm and I go, that uses the bitch word or worse, or uses words like a faggot or hate words against gays and lesbians, right? And then what they do is they run an algorithm on it, and it'll pull up everybody that's a user that's engaged in that kind of talk, and then they're going to get rid of you. People have no idea. Again, it's money, and when you start messing with money, they gonna take you out. There are a lot of people on YouTube, some of the brothers, like I said, who've done videos on this, and they're like, this ain't about what you think it's about. It's about money. They don't care about us. Let's keep it 100. They don't care about us. But it's about money. And so what you do by them is to know how to play the game. And the game's about money. So I make sure that I got people who are high end, who have access, who understand money. And I just want to end with this. I want to talk about this assault on black women. And Christelyn, what are your thoughts on the last week of what we've seen, just in the national news?
Well, it's been interesting in that this all is interconnected, and it's important for people to see the interconnection, in that if if a group of people aren't seen as worth protecting, if it appears that they folks can get away with being flippant and being derisive to making fun of a group of people without any consequences, then this is what you get. And I think for far too long, Black women, and just like in your article, your first line was, the most disrespected person in America is the Black woman, because, you know, she's an easy target.
And who said that? Who said that?
Malcolm X said that.
A Black man.
And a Black man who said this. And the fact of the matter is that all of this is interconnected. Like, if you can't see the relationship with the perpetuation of Black women not being seen as human, as being seen as feminine and women, and when you see the male counterpart, the Black man, who is saying these horrible things about Black women, guess what that message gives towards everyone else? That you're not worth shit. That if your own men think you aren't worth protecting, why? That's what I got out of. It's gone on for too long. And here's another thing too. We have spent way too much time marching and protesting for other people. And it is time that we start marching and protesting for ourselves.
Yeah, I mean, I want to, the very first chat that we had about this on the very first night, I mean, when you're talking about this, there was a white man who, I guess he was on one of the blogs that you posted or something, and I thought he had a very profound comment that really struck me. You know, he's a white man, and he said, you know what? You do not see white men going around writing negative books about white women. You do not see white men with video channels trashing white women. And he said, because if we did, we would be ostracized by other men.
Right.
We would be ostracized in our community. And then somebody would report us for being a lunatic.
Right.
And he's like, we would be ostracized. And I think what he was shocked at is what I was shocked at when I found out that this was going on. And he was shocked that no Black men were coming to the defense.
Exactly.
And, you know, I named some brothers like Boyce and Roland and Mark. They don't care.
Yeah, and they know. And it's the thing is that they've come after, they've had their issues with Tommy, because maybe Tommy said something bad about them, but they haven't come in concert to protect Black women against people like Tommy. They don't care. Like, it's just this apathy. And then people wonder why, you know, I exist because look around at how Black women are treated. My goal is to get Black women to go where they're celebrated and not tolerated. And this right here is an example.
Yeah, next week we're going to make a really big announcement that you're all going to want to be a part of, and we're going to promote it more than just a couple hours before so that we get a huge turnout. Every Black woman in America wants to be on the Google Hangout. We're going to do about a week from now because we're going to have a big announcement. And let me say this, we're not talking about this anymore after tonight. I want to recap what I mean by this. We're not talking about Mr. Moomy Man and all these other silly people, Brooke, whatever. They will be dealt with properly by people, not me, not Christelyn, not you. They're being looked at because their content is disgusting. And like I said, it's about money now. It's not about Google or YouTube giving a damn about Black women. It's about them caring about their money. And they don't want this type of stuff on anymore because they're losing millions and millions of dollars.
Right. I think it's at like $750 million they stand to lose.
And counting. And because those accounts are big, right? So I'm telling you, Christelyn, I'm in conversation with major players who are telling me what's going to come down. So these guys better enjoy their 5 minutes in the sun. You and I don't have the kind of power. First of all, we just don't. And because we're not the corporation. But the point I'm making is that I wish that these brothers, and I said this to Mr. Ali, if you remember, when I offered my hand to him 3 times, I went to him like a woman and said, hey, dude, take this down. If you want help with your platform, show me you can do something positive. I got you. I'll help you. He gave me the finger. Cool. All right. So please don't come at me, black men, and talk about how we don't defend black men. It's not my responsibility to defend black men and go around looking for people to do bad stuff to black men. I have a life. I have a job. I don't have time for that kind of stuff. But when I do see it, if I see somebody mistreating brothers when Trump had disrespected Obama, I'm the first one to write a column blasting the president of the United States, which actually doesn't serve me too well here in Washington, just to keep it 100. But the point is that there comes a point when you have to respect yourself. And the note I want to end on tonight, sisters, I'm going to ask something of you. I'm going to ask something of you, as I've asked of Christelyn, she'll tell you, and myself. We as a people are in crisis. Black women are under assault. Black men are under assault. And it ain't our job to tear each other down. I don't care if you're a brother married to a white woman. I don't care if you're a black woman married to a white man. That shouldn't matter.
Right.
What should matter is that we're human beings. And what should matter is that we come from a collective struggle as a people of terror on us, of racism against us, of abuse on us. And there comes a point when we got to cut us some slack, brothers. It's hard being a black man. I don't have any doubt about that. But it's damn hard being a black woman. Exactly. And so the last thing any woman wants is to, particularly when she's minding her business, to have some brothers just going in. I mean, I don't think, Christelyn, they understand, like, some of this, like I said, is really over the line. I mean, that you would sit and make videos and make fun of a woman because she's not married.
Right. But what about little girls? What about 16-year-old girls? I get notes from 12, 13, 16-year-old girls crying from what they see on YouTube about black men, what they're saying about them. These girls are innocent. And they just don't care.
I told you my two nieces, 19 and the other one's 14, said they're not dating black men. The oldest one doesn't. And the youngest one told her father, who's a black man, the other day, I like white guys. And it's because of what they see in the culture. It's because of guys like Tyrese that are constantly talking bad about sisters, or Steve Harvey or whoever. And you're right, they're smarter than we are because they have access to stuff we didn't have access to when we were girls. We didn't have phones.
Right.
So all I'm saying is, I just want to end this tonight that when Christelyn and I make this announcement next week, we're shifting. We're moving in a different direction. We're going to announce something that's going to change the life of our lives and the lives of all of you, because we're about positivity. We're about transformation. We're about getting information, as Beyonce said, as black women, our lives for the better, the lives of our sons, daughters, nieces, and nephews for the better. I will no longer engage. And sisters, I'm going to ask a few things of you before we have to go. Number one, ever have to tolerate bullying, harassing, abusive speech, text, Facebook posts, YouTube videos, whatever. Learn the policies on these channels and platforms. Report. Think it through. Google the law about cyber stalking. It'll come up on Google. Google, what are the laws in my state on cyber stalking? How do I report a crime? What do I do if someone's harassing me? Use the law. Yes. Get a restraining order if somebody gets serious, and then do what I did. Yes, I have a security force. I am expert in weapons use. But guess what? I got a carry and conceal permit. In the light of all this, I had to go get one, because now I have to worry that if I'm walking down the street or whatever and I don't have my security with me, or if I'm out on my morning jog or whatever, my security told me I got to be weaponed up now. That's horrible. But it is what it is.
It is what it is.
You know, this is the world we live in. It's tragic because no woman wants to be in that position. And I just want to say to the men out there who feel like a man because you've made a woman afraid, because you've menaced, stalked, abused, harassed, called names to somebody you don't know, you need help.
Right.
You are unwell. You're not stable. And I'm telling you, you're being watched by these major platforms. They're going to turn you in. Your names are being watched. Your IP addresses are being collected, going to be shared with law enforcement. Don't do that to yourself. If you want to comment and you want to put a channel about the 10 things I don't like about Black women, knock yourself out. But can't you do it respectfully? You got to call us monkeys, animals, bitches, whores. Really?
BP 1000s, hair-hatted hooligans, worst stewards of children in the world. I mean, it's just...
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Now, Christelyn, you can help me with this, but I don't know of any Black woman that has a channel that does that. Do you? Because I don't know.
There are women, there are some YouTubers who have retaliated. So there are some, I have to be honest, there are some channels where Black women are saying these things, but it's sort of like, well, if you're gonna say these things about us, then I'm gonna say these things about you. And so they do exist. They do.
All right. Well,
but if you compare you've got the men's list is this long, and you've got the women's list this long.
Well, like I said, because I'm a woman of my word, if I find that there are sisters that are abusing Black men and it's not in response to someone that's stalking or harassing them, and sisters, this is what I'm going to ask of you. Don't, when they go low, we go high.
Yes.
Report, document, report, flag when flagging is appropriate, flag when flagging fits within the guidelines, report a channel when it fits within the guidelines, when it's clear bullying, harassing, cursing, inappropriate, whatever it is, and do that. But to get on a video and cuss back, to get on a video and go off back, it makes you just as low as them. And then your boss is going to see it and you're going to lose your damn job.
Right.
Don't do that.
Right.
What we're trying to teach you tonight is how to stand up for yourself and do it in a way that doesn't demean you further and doesn't cost you your job or your reputation.
Right. Because let's just talk about, since you're a U.S. attorney, let's talk about how were the hate groups eventually overturned in the United States?
Well,
how did they eventually get disbanded? What happened?
Well, first of all, again, going back to the First Amendment, everybody has the freedom to assemble. So I'm an AKA. We have secret meetings. We have public meetings. You and I tomorrow, Christelyn, could start a group, and we could start a women's club and have secret meetings and do whatever we want because we have the right to assemble. But as I've tried to explain on every single video, every one of our freedoms here in America has a limitation. So if you and I are group, so let's say we get a bunch of Black women and we decide we're going to have a club for hating on Black men, and then we're going to stalk Black men, we're going to try to bother them, do whatever to them, we're in violation of the law. And if we get caught, get, prosecuted, but yes, our organization can be disbanded. So, because it violates the Equal Protections Clause. And again, I'm not going to get into a legal class here because nobody wants that this time of night. The thing is that the First Amendment has limitations. The right to keep and bear arms has limitations. You can't take a loaded weapon. In Virginia, for example, where I live, you're in California, so you have very different laws in California than I have in Virginia. In Virginia, in a carry and conceal state, which I'm in, I can walk around with my gun in the grocery store, at the movie theater. Now, I can't start waving it around at people because they're going to call the police on me. Then I'm probably going to get shot.
Right.
But in California, you don't have carry and conceal.
No.
Texas has open carry.
Right.
So you remember, hey, Christelyn, you remember that brother? Remember when the police were getting shot up in Dallas?
Yes.
Last year?
Yeah.
And you remember the young Black man that had his shotgun open carry and how they had him on the video all over the world for being the shooter?
Yes. Yes.
And it wasn't him? It was another
Yes,
guy?
I remember that distinctly. Yes.
Why did they put him all man with a gun
Right.
in an open carry state. And a couple of those brothers, like Philando Castile,
Yeah, that was
and the other
horrible.
brothers in their cars, they had open carry states or carrying concealed. They had permits. They had the right to their Second Amendment rights, and they were murdered anyway.
Right.
Brothers, listen at me. I don't know what kind of hatred's in your heart. I don't know who hurt you. I don't know who disrespected you. I don't know who made you feel like you weren't a man. But every single one of us as human beings that walks this earth has a story. Somebody's done us dirty than us. Somebody misused us. Somebody maybe beat on us, maybe molested us, whatever the case is. But you know what? You can still choose to be a good person. You can still choose not to be a vindictive, nasty ass and to attack people and vilify people because you've been hurt. That's not a way to live, brothers. And more importantly, it's not who you want to be. If you have children, how would you feel if your kid came in on your computer, Pete Brook, if you've got a kid, and saw you and these hate comments, your little girl calling people bitches and monkeys? What would your little girl think of you?
Right.
How could you
exactly.
look her in the face and explain, oh, this is how daddy talks about women?
Well, I mean, they try to make the distinction. Well, if it doesn't apply, let it fly. Or I'm not talking about you, and that's been able to work for so long. I'm not talking about you. It's the same with gangster rap. Oh, well, when I say black women are bitches and hoes and skanks, I'm not talking about you. I'm talking about them. And for some reason, it works for women.
You notice that Jay-Z doesn't say bitches and hoes anymore because he's got a daughter now.
Yeah.
And he's married to Beyonce and he's got more kids. Marriage totally changed him.
Right. But he did a lot of damage before that happened, though, unfortunately.
He did. That's my point. But when he got a daughter and when he got a wife, all of a sudden it was different.
Right.
And I promise you, if Jay-Z heard some fools talking about his wife or his daughter, he gonna punch him in the mouth.
That's right. Or do something worse.
Right. So just remember, Christelyn's somebody's daughter. She's somebody's wife. She's somebody's mother. I'm somebody's daughter, aunt, sister, friend, girlfriend. You know, again, who gets on the internet and sits down and talks about someone's personal life and who you think they are and when you don't have a clue what that person is or what they've dealt with or what they've been through? I mean, how cruel and how evil and disgusting, and shame on you. Right. And you know what? I'll end with where we should have probably began on the very first day, which is that for a people that say we love God as much as we do, for a people that are in church as much as we are, for a people that love to quote scripture as we do, we're doing some pretty hateful stuff out here.
Right.
And I suspect some of these people are even in ministry, pastoring, whatever. I pray that's not the case. Right. But my point is, there's a spiritual component to this too, guys. It's just wrong. And it's not right.
Right.
We should stop it.
Absolutely. But you know, the thing is that some people won't stop because they don't have the capacity for empathy. And your appeal, while every normal person is going to be touched by hearing that, many of the people who we're dealing with are complete sociopaths who lack empathy, who lack understanding, who really don't get it. They'll never understand it until you hit them where it hurts. And that is in their pocketbook. It's in, shutting down their channels in legitimate ways. That's the only way it's going to hurt. Yep. Because these people don't have emotions the way that we have emotions. But anyway, I wanted to let you guys know that sign on to our mailing list. Sophia, if you have a mailing list that they need to sign on.
I'm good. I don't have anything like, I do, but I want this to be about you because
I have been giving the mailing list in the chat room. Make sure you sign up for that. I'm also going to post this this post on the blog along with links to the petition, to the mailing list, and to where you can contribute. We're about to do something really big. We are about to elevate. So this is about us rising above and elevating. And you guys do not want to miss this. There are 300 people listening to this right now. 300 people may not all love us, but I can tell you there's a lot of people who are listening right now to our voices. We want to see your likes. We want to see your support.
Look, I'm glad that, you know, your haters pay you tribute when they listen to what you have to say. And
yep.
I am talking about solidarity between Black men and Black women, which has been my life's work, as you know. I have a track record, and it is a good one. And that's why this particular, you've heard me, we've talked offline.
Yes.
I've been particularly wounded by this, and I mean that because I'm a good woman, and I try to help brothers, and I love brothers, and I try to be right, and I've caught hell for it from the sisters. And like I said, and once I saw those videos, I was like, damn, maybe I get what they're saying now. Mm-hmm. No. And you and I have had this conversation, but I'm still not going to hate on Black men. I'm still not going to say Black men are evil and dogs. Some are, yes. And the ones that are on these social media feeds and doing this stuff, I literally pray for them every day. I pray for them with my family, and I pray because what I understand is that underneath the anger and the attacks and the viciousness is a wounded, broken human being. And you're right, we're going to elevate. And brothers, we're going to have something for you too that you can participate in. It ain't going to be just about the sisters. We're going to create dialogues and platforms and events and things that we're not going to talk about now, but we are going to something to help people heal and to start respecting each other, because the biggest takeaway for me, Christelyn, and all this isn't what the lawyers are going to do, isn't all that stuff. That is what it is. My biggest takeaway is, damn, I had no idea my brothers were this jacked up. I didn't know there was this kind of mental illness, this kind of anger, this kind of rage, this kind of jealousy, envy. I mean, it was shocking to me. You have any thoughts on that?
Well, it's sort of interesting that I would never, my father, who passed away in 2009, would never compete with a woman. You know, it was just not, he competed with other men. And what you see here is, I'll give you an example. Obsidian, you know, he said in our first hangout, oh, you only raised $20. I raised blah, 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 blah. And I was like, you're comparing, I was like, first of all, that's not true, but, you know, is this a race? Like, why are you comparing your success with mine? Like, you're a man, you know, we're not, you know, I find it kind of, it's silly that a lot of these men are jealous of our education. They're jealous of our success. They feel helpless.
Yep.
They feel left out.
Yep.
And they feel, and for those reasons, they feel they have to compete with us. And it's just the sickest thing to me, because it's like having a man compete with a woman is just so sissified to me.
Well, I think that it's deeper than that. It is number one, this is about money for him and others like him, because they don't want to go out and get a job and work like a real man gets a job. You know, Michelle Obama's dad had multiple sclerosis, and he was very sick. And he died young. He didn't live to see his daughter become first lady, see his grandchildren. He saw none of that. But that man got up every day, and Michelle talks about this, and he went to work 8 hours a day, sick, because he had to put food on the table. And he wanted his kids to have better. My grandfather, a World War II hero, bona fide, lied about his age to be in the segregated army of the United States.
Girl, mine too.
Exactly. My dad, Vietnam, my brother, the Persian Gulf. I mean, if you open up E Pluribus 1 and you look at the acknowledgments, I open with the men in my family, my Uncle Douglas, who wore the uniform. I'm proud of them. And those were men. My dad knows how to fix a car. He can build a house. He can build a shed. You know, he might not have no fancy Ivy League degree. As on the internet, pimping women and talking trash.
Well, I mean, that's really key right there. It's pimping women. It's the exploitation of women for profit.
Yes. And big, you know, it goes on in the world. Sex trafficking is a multi-billion-dollar industry, as sickening and disgusting as that is.
So whether it's the mental exploitation, tearing them down, making them feel like nothing, feeding the hatred that people have for profit, it is a kind of a pimping. It really is. I never thought about it, but I believe that you're onto something.
Well,
So,
I think I want to end with this again. I'm getting flooded, and I mean flooded with Facebook and YouTube messages that my assistant's doing her best, but trying to catalog them, but it's just too many. So what I see is a theme. And if you look on the petition, there's a theme. And I'm telling you, Christelyn, you're right about what you said about the girls and about the letters you get. These women are broken and hurt.
yes.
When I put, you're on my Facebook page, my private one, and when I posted that evil missive I got, you saw that there were sisters who were like, I physically feel ill.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Angry that somebody would talk to you like this who they don't even know. And for me, again, what I take away from all of this, gentlemen, is that you need prayer. You're angry, you're broken, you're vicious. And you know what? You've let the system break you. Waters was talking about the other night. She was talking about more than just Black women. She was talking about us as a people. And what she was saying is when they come for you, you can't let them break you. You can't be intimidated. You can't be threatened. I know that your masculinity probably feels like less than because you see all these women running around with cars, jobs, homes. It's the oldest trick in the book, y'all. Come on, you're smarter than this. It goes back to slavery. They have always pitted us against you and you against us. But now it's us pitting us against us. We can't blame the white man for this. You cannot blame the white man for you
Right.
getting on YouTube and preaching hate.
Right.
And menacing Black women. White men are looking at this stuff, Christelyn. I don't know if you're getting the comments, but I am.
Oh, I
White
do.
men are appalled.
Appalled.
Like,
yes. They would never do this.
No.
They have their issues with their women, and they'll say what those issues are, but they would never. I mean, there's no. I have to ask you a question. This is a larger issue, but I wonder, is it, we got together and became friends because of no wedding, no womb.
Uh-huh.
Do you think it's because of the fractured family that there's just so much anger? I just feel like, knowing what I know, I can't ignore it. I know people don't like to talk about it. It's not like I'm trying to shame
that's real.
mothers, but I just feel like there's just so much anger. And a lot of these young boys go onto YouTube to listen to this negativity because they're looking for male figures. They're feeling rudderless.
Right.
They're disgruntled.
Let me answer your question like this. Absolutely. Look, it's like this, okay? You remember when you were a kid and if you went to where I grew up, we had like 7-Elevens and stuff like that, right? Mm-hmm. So maybe Cumberland Farms, whatever. And if you went to the candy store and you didn't have a quarter in your pocket, you couldn't get any candy. But you were watching the other kids come out with bags of candy and they had ice cream and they had everything, but you couldn't afford to buy what the other kids had, so you didn't get to get any. That's the story of America for Black people. Mm-hmm. It is the face always pressed against the window and doing twice as much work, working hard, but still being denied those very things that you've worked for, everybody wants love, Christelyn. Mm-hmm. Everybody wants a family, Christelyn. Everybody wants a good job where they can pay their bills, have a roof over their head, have some food on the table. And particularly for a man, when my last and I were together, and you know who I'm talking about because you met him. Mm-hmm. One of the things, and I love this about him that we would talk about was what a man. We wanted to do a book together, and I don't want to say the title because I don't want anybody to steal it, but it was really good about the difference between men and women and what a man needs and what a woman wants, and they're very different. Mm-hmm. And one of the things that I think he would help me to understand about Black men is that when you're a man, a real man, a man wants to be able to take care of his woman and his family. He wants to be a he-man. He wants to be Superman. Mm-hmm. It doesn't matter if his woman's a doctor, a lawyer, a brain surgeon. At the end of the day, when that man comes home, he doesn't want to make you less than him. He doesn't want to abuse you or talk down to you. He wants to know that you think he's Superman,
right?
That you think he can leap tall buildings. And so I think that sisters, we got to do some work. We got to do some work when we have good men and we forget that the stuff that happens to us in the workplace, the stuff that we get abused with, we bring that home. He brings that home. And in Black Woman Redefined, if you remember, Christelyn, in the studies, and it was very revealing how Black men talked about the reason they would choose white women more often wasn't because they didn't love sisters. It was because that white woman had a joy about her.
Right, a lightness, a carefree attitude.
Yes, yes. And it's because she's not dealing with the ass
yes.
the sister's getting every day.
Exactly.
And so
because she gets the protection. She's under a benevolent patriarchy where she's protected and provided for. So yes, she can be light and like they don't even realize when they say this stuff. It's really it really is a black mark against their own. Like you're looking at Black women aren't like this instead of saying, well, why aren't they like this? It's our fault, but it's like it's really your fault because you're not creating these safe spaces where women feel safe to be light and airy and carefree. Right.
And so at the end of the day, you're exactly right. And again, see, brothers, you want to have a dialogue. Let's have a dialogue. Let's talk about digging down to what really ails us. Why aren't we getting along? Why aren't we loving on each other? Why aren't we taking care of each other? Why aren't we doing what our great-great-grandparents did? My grandparents they had 10 kids. They didn't have a lot of money. They saved what they had. They fed their kids. And my grandma said they would go on a date every week and they may have a quarter in their pocket to go get a cup of coffee. And they share the same cup of coffee. But they fought it together. There was no, like you said, no competing.
Right.
No, I got to put you down so I can be up. You know, there was a time in our community, in the Black community, where Black men were maybe sanitation workers, or maybe they were a janitor, or maybe they were a bricklayer. Any work they could get, they would dig ditches. There's a great movie called The Ditch Digger's Daughter. This guy was a ditch digger, a Black man, and he had 5 daughters that all became doctors. It's a true story. The Ditch Digger's Daughter, it was a movie they made. And so my point is, there was a time when maybe your Black wife was a nurse, or maybe she was a school teacher, or maybe she was a seamstress, or maybe she was a maid, like in The Help. But the point is, when everybody came home at the end of the day, we put our $10 on the table and we're in this together. So I don't care if you were the principal at the school and I was digging ditches or whatever. We love each other. We're going to give our kids something better. Right. And Christelyn, I think that's to your point. We've gotten away from family. We've gotten away from respect. We've gotten away from courting and dating. And it's all about sex now. And it's all, you look at, what's that man's channel? The horrible man that got me into this mess because I went on his horrible show.
Roger Allen Curry.
Yeah. His whole channel is about teaching men how to be Mac daddies and
sex doctors. It's disgusting. It's gross.
Disgusting. How to Mac on a woman, how to roll up on a woman. It's not something that is, brothers, let me teach you how to be a man and get and do what a man does. It's how to be a sleazy, carnal, filthy animal.
Disgusting, nasty man who goes up to women and whispers in their ear, I want to, do something like vile and disgusting, like that would warrant a slap on the face.
Right, but this is the world we're living in. So I'm just calling on, because I'm tired now, it's time to go to bed. Okay. I'm calling on the good Black men out there, because there are very good men out there. I have many in my family. Christelyn has many in her family. And I'm saying to you, brothers, don't do this. Don't be like this. You don't want any part of this. You got bigger fish to fry, as do we. And, if somebody's hurt you, forgive them. Forgive them, man, and let it go, because shame on them if you were a good man and you were trying to do right and you got the wrong woman. It happens to all of us.
It happens to all of us.
And what they win and they take power over you when you get bitter and when you do this craziness.
Right.
It makes you look like the nut. Nobody knows what they did. Nobody knows, but you look crazy. You don't want to live like that. So, Christelyn, those are my closing words to the sisters. My ask of you is to stick with us. We got something big coming next week we're going to tell you about. We're going to roll out.
Yep. Make sure you join the mailing list. Big announcements. It's going to be huge. I'm super excited about it. Finally, after these years, Sophia and I are doing something together. And here's the dedication, Sophia. I just want to give a shout out to our audience. 306 people listening, and it's a weekday at 11:21 p.m. It's almost midnight, and there's 309 people listening right now. That just goes to show that people are very interested in us as a group working together, and we hear you, we see you. There's some big things coming. Sophia, I'll let you close out.
Well, what I'd like to say is to the men out there, again, we don't hate you. We ain't mad at you. We're a little bit confused and concerned as to why you're acting out in this manner, but we haven't done anything to you. There's a better way. There's a better conversation. There's a better dialogue. YouTube ain't real money. YouTube ain't how you make money and make a living. Not like this. And what I want to say to the sisters is, because again, I've really taken the time to go through as many comments as I can. And I see sisters who'll start off saying, hey, I love this. Thank you, Christelyn and Sophia. But then somebody comes and calls them a B. And then they start calling him all kind of mofos and his mama a mofo. And yeah, I mean, don't do that.
Right. It doesn't help. And I've even fallen victim to this. I mean, where you've had to gently chastise me. It's so hard when for me, to do what I do, I have to care. I have to care about people. And sometimes, and I'm sensitive. Like, that's a good thing that I have, but sometimes it gets you in trouble. And sometimes you just have to rise above it.
Well, if you notice, and notice, I pop on every once in a while and I'll make a comment on the feeds, but when I do it, I cite the law, or I do something really intellectual and I use big words that I know sends them nuts. I don't talk about nobody's mama. I ain't gonna cuss at nobody. I tell them, keep it up. I got you. And I do stuff to kind of taunt them, but I'm not gonna go low.
Right.
What I'm asking you is, don't engage that way. Do what we told you. Flag when you're assaulted, stalked, whatever. Report. Give them the email that they can write to. What is it?
The email for to get onto our No.
The email when you report. What's it? Google at.
It's abuse at google.com.
Yes, and so make sure you write. I think we should have a letter writing campaign, which we're going to talk about, but we're going to do that in a private email or something that's not public. But again, I have the attention of the authorities high up in this company, and there's going to be some good stuff that's going to come out of this, some very good stuff. And I just want to end with saying, sisters, Maxine Waters said it best. I'm a strong Black woman, and I will not be intimidated. We need to get t-shirts with that. We need to create cups and everything, because that is a mantra that every Black woman should repeat to herself. There's nothing wrong with you. You're not ugly. You're not too much of this, not enough of that. Your strength is a blessing. Your strength is a gift.
Right. And let me just say this too, that being a strong Black woman doesn't mean that you're an unfeminine woman.
Yes, absolutely.
And
it also doesn't mean you don't want a man or you don't love men.
Right.
And I think that gets confusing. When I looked at these He-Man Women Haters Club, one of their biggest themes is we need to put them in their place. They need to be domesticated. I'm like, are these fools cavemen?
Right.
Are they crazy? Like, what are you
They
gonna do?
are.
Hit me over the head? You're gonna hit me over the head with your damn Bam Bam club?
Right.
Your
Bam Bam club.
Really?
Yes.
That's not how you get a woman to love you and submit to you. You get a woman, guys, to love you and submit to you because you treat her kind and you love her and you worship the ground she walks on and you treat her and you protect her. That's when a woman gives you any and everything you want because she trusts you and she honors you and she feels grateful to have you. This abusive,
exactly.
I'm gonna make you love me, bitch. I'm gonna beat you
Right.
down with my club.
Right. And dependent, and that's the only, they want to make you feel like you can't get any better. And they tear you down by what you see on YouTube. If you have this mentality that you can't do any better, then you'll accept all kinds of abuse. And that's what we want to overcome. And with that, we're going to close. Thank you guys for joining us. Again, this was an amazing chat. Over 300 people. We got a lot of people watching. I want to see some likes. We have 307 people watching, but only 154 likes. Let's get those likes up. Let's get those shares up, because we have a lot of positive things going on.
And everybody, we need you to get the petition, and you got to get 5 people to sign it and share it.
Yes, do that. So that's your homework. So everybody who's already signed the petition, tag 5 people on your friends list. This will be very easy. We can get this list up to 2,000 by tomorrow. If you tag just 5 friends, please sign this. And the next thing you know, it's exponential. And it will benefit all of us, because again, this isn't just some fluffy, symbolic thing. This is something that we're using to present to people who can actually make a difference. So
yeah, they actually requested it. Actually, they want it because they want to know. They want to see the comments. And thank you to those who are commenting. Again, love will always conquer hate. Light will always quell darkness. And for these men out there again who cussing, stalking, angry, menacing, we gonna get the bitches. We gonna take them out. It's time. Your day is up. It's over.
Yes, it's
That's
over.
not because of me and Christelyn. Your game's just up because they don't want you. You're now a threat to their business. So
exactly.
Don't get it twisted, sisters. They ain't doing this and getting rid of these channels of folks because they love us. It ain't about that. It's about money. It's about money.
Right. But we can use this as an opportunity, which we have done pretty well. Use this opportunity to get the attention of who we needed to get the attention by. And thank you, Sophia, for guiding us. I mean, I can't thank you enough. You have lit a fire in these women who felt, even with me too, felt, what can we do? We felt like, okay, we're following the rules, we're flagging, these people still aren't going away. And then you come in like a cavalry riding in and you show us, okay, this is how it's done. And you've inspired so many people. This is history in the making.
But Crystal, and I've said this on everyone, and I'm going to do it again, because sisterhood is about collaboration. You, my sister, are the real warrior here, because you've been in these trenches for a long time and you've taken abuse that I never would have taken. Somebody probably be in a lot of trouble by now. And so I really appreciate your heart. And it's not me, it's God working through all of us and through us to do good. That's why you and I are going to keep our side of the street clean.
That's right.
I'm not going to get into the dog dirt. I have proof. When we talk to the authorities where Obsidian, what's his name, lives, I showed them my emails and my email to him, the 2 Facebook things I sent, and the one detective said, wow, like he was surprised that I would be that, like, hey, dude, come on, stop,
right,
do this,
right.
And that kind of stuff shows people in authority. When you see, and then he wrote me back that long, crazy email that I didn't even read, not a word of it. I just forwarded it on. My lawyer read it, and like, yeah, they were convinced he was more certifiable after he wrote like the 2-page email justifying stalking and harassing a woman he's never even had a conversation with. So, bottom line, better days ahead. Sisters, keep the faith. Don't go low. Stay high. Love yourself. Do not engage in these cyber war conversations, these tweet fights. Somebody calls you a B, say, you know what? I rebuke you in the name of Jesus. May God bless you, and keep it moving. There's nothing that'll shut down a fool quicker than when you invoke the name of Jesus and call him, say, get behind me, Satan. It'll stop him every time, because there ain't nowhere left to go after that. You see what I'm saying? So please, You have better things to do. We're in this together. It ain't about me. It ain't about Christelyn. It's about all of us together, coming together. And I'm going to share this with Congresswoman Waters. Christelyn, I've got her on my radar. I've known her for 30 years. And I'm going to make sure she sees the petition and knows about this YouTube stuff, because she's on the committee that oversees FCC stuff. So
Right.
see, there's a powerful network. My AKA sisters are powerful.
Yeah.
And this is a crusade for me now. This is big because I'm tired of the way we get treated in corporate, in the church, in at work, in at school. I'm just tired of the way we get treated. It's
Absolutely
horrible. To stop.
Right. And we've talked about this before, organizing a coalition, like an anti-defamation league for Black women. And this is the time. Now is the time.
Yep.
Let's go for it. This can happen.
All right,
Sophia, I love you. Thank you
back.
so much. We'll be talking soon. Don't forget to sign the mailing list. Don't forget 5 people, sign the petition. And if you want to contribute, there's links down there. If you want to donate, we appreciate every little bit counts. It goes towards the upkeep of all of it. So thank you so much. Good night, everybody.
Bye, sweetie.
Bye.